Welcome everyone to Recovery Part 1. So, recovery, what is it? Recovery is a term used to describe a systematic physiological and psychological post-exercise process in which the body and the brain require replenishment and rejuvenation in order to prepare for upcoming training or competition. Now, whether you've just done a cardio workout, weight training, doesn't really matter. Recovery strategies are imperative at all levels in order to combat the stress that you've just placed on the body and brain and maintain optimal work capacity. I recommend strategies and practices that are foundational to effective exercise recovery in areas of like sleep, nutrition, hydration, psychological relaxation, and movement. Now, these strategies can be grouped into 3 different phases: rest, refuel, and regenerate. Each recovery strategy is vital to the overall process. Now, if any one of these strategies is not addressed, your performance could start to be compromised. It is important to note, however, that optimal recovery from training and maybe competition is just one part and of a larger focus of overall health and wellness. And it's important and it's essential for your overall wellness because it contributes to the psychological and physical components of well-being. So much like flawed performance programming, which only focuses solely maybe on a general goal and not the specific needs of that individual, constantly trying to do 1 rep maxes all the bloody time and you're never actually able to lift any heavier. Placing those physical gains above the total wellness is kind of putting you on the wrong side of the evidence-based practice. Now consider taking a holistic approach for a more optimal physical and emotional health. If any of these dimensions like fear, anxiety, inactivity can affect the total wellness of yourself. Now, it can then affect the efficiency of losing body fat, putting on muscle, maybe increase the risk of injury as well. You might be recovering, but maybe just not as optimally as you could. Now, from the more advanced athletes, I would say it's more important to have more of a specific recovery approach rather than the average general Joe who doesn't maybe only trains like once or twice a week and doesn't really do much anyway. Then just resting and taking that time away from the gym, getting a good night's sleep, generally they're going to be fine. But if you're like an athlete and you're training hard, like 4 or 5 times a week, then it's going to be a bit more beneficial, a bit more appropriate for you to have a much more structured recovery plan. Now, doesn't matter if you've got a structured recovery session or not, you are doing some kind of recovery. Even if you don't think that you are, okay? Even any time that you're not at the gym is recovery, okay? That you're just chilling on the sofa, that's recovery. If you're just lying in bed, that's recovery. Any kind of sleep is to somewhat level contributing to your recovery. Now, the harder and more intense and more long you train, the more important it is to make sure you've got that recovery process to really maximize your gains. Now remember, if you don't recover properly and you go into the session, you're not training at your best. So you're not going to be lifting as much weight as you could be, hence you're not then going to get as many benefits out of it. So if you want to really maximize your benefits in terms of fat loss, muscle gain, getting stronger, definitely having that recovery in process. Now you don't have to have like a full-on recovery session, maybe just doing a little bit of foam rolling here, maybe making sure that you're getting maybe a good 8 hours sleep, or even contributing to that extra protein intake to help with recovery. Supplements are usually something at the very top of that pyramid list of one of the very last things that I go into for people for wanting to improve recovery. But generally, you'll find that the more intense and the longer you've been training, the more benefit you're going to get from it. But that can be into so many different areas. It's not just stretching, and actually stretching doesn't necessarily help so much with recovery that people think. Foam rolling is usually a much better option. Stretching can help prevent stiffness and more for long-term sort of performance, and can be used sometimes to improve acute performance in your training as well, definitely, but not as beneficial for recovery as people think. But let me know what your thoughts are, and stick around for, I'm going to go into several parts of recovery and go in a bit more depth of this, but this was just kind of like an intro into the world of recovery. But Any questions, put in the comments below, and any requests as well, just put in the comment and I'll give a shout out to you. Catch you for the next one.